right, let's start reviewing Unit 10. Now, do notice though, there's a question number 9 and a question number 11. Keep in mind, I have two questions. It's not all just one, it's two different questions. The same thing with questions 10 and 12. They're kind of close, but keep in mind they are different. All right, so let's take a look. For all four of these questions, I'm asking use the information provided to write the equation of each circle. So for question number 9, I'm given an x and a y value. My equation of this circle is going to be x minus 13 squared. Notice I just switched the sign. When I have y minus 10 squared, once again, I just switched the sign from a positive to a negative. If it was negative, I would have changed it to positive. I do need a plus sign in between them. And I'm going to say this is equal to 16. The radius is 4. So 4 squared, radius squared. Let's take a look at number 10. The way I will write this will be x plus 11 squared. Notice I switched the sign from the x. I see the value of the y, so I'm going to go y minus 6 squared with the plus in between. And this is going to equal to 25. The radius is 5, so 5 squared. Now let's take a look at number 11 and 12. I need to find the center of my circle. When I give you guys the graph, I make the center easy to find. I can see that the center is the point -2, -1. Now the radius in this case is 4. So I'm going to say the equation for this circle is going to be x plus 2 squared, y plus 1 squared, with a plus in between. Notice I just switched the sign on the x and the y, equals 16. Radius squared. Now looking at question number 12, the center of my circle, in this case, is the point 0, 1. Now the radius, I notice is the side. The radius is 3. So I'm just going to go for the equation of this circle. I know my x and my y value. Now I can write x minus 0 squared. However, x minus 0 can be just written in an easier way. So let me write this as x squared. And then y minus 1 squared with a plus in between. Once again, notice that on the x, I just wrote the x by itself because I'm not going to go x minus 0. This is just x. Equals, in this case, 9. The radius is 3. 9 is radius squared. Now let's take a look at the back side. I'm going to graph this. So looking at this information, I'm giving you guys the information of the circle, the equation of the circle, and I expect you guys to graph them. So for number 13, the center of my circle is going to be the point 1, 0. Notice I switched the signs, and on the y there was nothing, so I just wrote 0. My radius, I know 10 is radius squared, so my radius must be the square root of 10. I can type that in. I can grab a calculator and I find out that the square root of 10 is 3 point something. I'm just going to write 3 point something. It's like 3.1 or 3.2, I mean. But I'm just going to call it 3 point something. So when I graph this, I expect you guys to go 1, 0, the point 1, 0. Give me the center. Now for the radius, I'm going to go a little more than 3 on each direction. So from the center, let me go 3 and a little bit more to the right. Let me go 3 and a little bit more to the left. Now when I go up, I'm going to go a little more than 3. When I go down, I'm going to go a little bit more than 3. Have a good idea where my circle goes. And that's my circle. Now let's take a look at number 14. Let me find the center of the circle. It's going to be the point -1, -3. Notice I just switched the signs on the x and the y. My radius, I know forward is radius squared, so my radius is the square root of 4, which is just 2. Let me find the center, -1, -3. Let me create a circle. Well, I know from the center, since my radius is 2, from the center, let me go up 2, 2 to the bottom, 2 to the right, and 2 to the left. From the center, I'm going 2 each direction. And there's my circle. After circles, we move into spheres. Question number 15 and 16, I'm asking to find the surface area of a sphere. We said that the surface area of a sphere, let me abbreviate that with surface area, was going to be 4 circles. So it's going to be 4 radius squared pi. So for question number 15, I'm just going to go 4 times 9 pi. The 9 because I did 3 squared. So my answer in this case is 36 pi. Now let's take a look at number 16. I'm going to go 4 times 81 pi. The 81 because it's 9 squared, radius squared. So 81 times 4. I'm going to go 324 pi. That's surface area. Then question 17 and 18, I'm moving on to volume. Now the volume was 2 spheres to begin with. The volume of the spheres, I'm going to do my formula here at the left. My volume is 4 radius cubed pi over 3. So for question number 17, I'm going to go 4 times 1 pi over 3. The 1, that's from radius cubed, right? The radius is 1, so 1 to the third is still 1. Now, I multiply my 2 numbers on the top. So that gives me 4 pi over 3. I divide 4 divided by 3. That's going to give me 1.3 pi. I know here it says run it to the nearest hundredth, but on your homework, you'll be running it to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place. All right, question number 18. Do notice that the forward is the diameter, so that means the radius is 2. The way I'm going to do this, I'm going to go forward, because I have to go forward times r cubed pi. So forward times 8 pi over 3. The 8, because I did radius cubed, right? 2 to the third. Now I multiply the 2 numbers on the top. So that's going to give me 32 pi over 3. Divide 32 divided by 3. That's going to give me 10.7 pi. Then looking at question 19 and 20, going back to like 2 weeks ago, we did the volume of prisms and cylinders. In this case, we said the volume was going to be the area of the base times the height. Looking at number 19, let me get the area of the base first. The base I highlighted as a rectangle. It's a 4x8 rectangle. So I know the area of the base is 32. The height in this case is 12. So I just have to go 32 times 12, and that is equal to 384. Same thing for number 20, right? Prisms and cylinders. Look for the base. My radius in this case is 7. The whole diameter is 14, so the radius is 7. The area of the circle, in this case, is 49 pi. That's the area of the base. The height is 11. So 49 times 11, I know it's 539. So my answer will be 539 pi. If you have decimals, round it to one decimal place. If you have pies, leave the pies alone. Then we also talked about the volume of pyramids and cones. For the volume of a pyramid and a cone was the area of the base times the height divided by 3. So let's take a look at number 21. The base, as I can see, is this polygon. It has 6 sides. And I remember the area of a polygon is the apothem times perimeter divided by 2. So I'm just going to go, the apothem is 6.9. The perimeter, since each side is 8, and there are 6 sides, I'm going to say the perimeter is 48 divided by 2. Once again, this is just the area of the base. So let me just multiply this out. 6.9 times 48 divided by 2. That gives me 165.6. And that is just the area of the base. Remember, I have to go the area of the base times the height divided by 3. So in this case, the height is 9. And I'm going to divide this by 3. And I get 496.8. Give myself some space to work here. $496.8. All right, let's take a look at number 22. The area of the base. The base in this case is a rectangle. 7 by 11 rectangle. So the area of the base is 77. The height in this case is 12. The height of the pyramid is 12. I have to divide this by 3. Area of the base times height divided by 3. In this case, I get 308. If you have any questions, don't forget to email me.